We continue now at the top of Daf Lamed Aleph Amid Beis Meseches Bava Metzia. This is Bava Metzia Daf 31b. The Gemara is in the middle of discussing why we need psukim for loading and unloading an animal, and also psukim for returning a lost animal. And the Gemara now continues, Aval Hani Tarti, when it comes to these two cases of loading and unloading the animal, the Isa Lamar Bahada, where the owner is here with the animal. It's not like a lost animal where there's no one to take care of it. So Emalos, I would say in that case, maybe you're not obligated, so that's why it's Richa, that's why it's necessary to say these cases as well. Rashi explains the Isa Lamar Dechsiv Imo, it's written in the pasuk, the owner is with him. Ema Yachzar Achar B'nei Adam Yiskra, maybe you'd say that he has to go find other people who he can hire to do this. That's why, again, the pasuk says there's a requirement to help this person out. And the Gemara continues, Mos Yumas Hamak, it talks about somebody who's Chayiv Sayif, he's Chayiv the death penalty because of the fact that he killed. So it says he has to die. So Ein Li Ela B'misa HaKsuvabo, I only know that it's with the death that's prescribed by the Torah. Minayin Shem'iyata Yachol Hamisu B'misa HaKsuva, how do you know that if you can't give him that particular type of death penalty, Shatorah Shoy Lahamiso B'chol Misa Shatayachol, Misa, that you can kill him in any way? Talmud Lomar Mos Yumas Mikol Makom, that's what the pasuk says, Mos Yumas, in any fashion. Rashi says, the proper death penalty in this case is sayif, is beheaded by the sword. For example, a case might be that the person's on a boat, he's running away. You're able to throw an arrow at him, or you can drown him. So if you're able to do those, how do you know you should do that? That's why it says most you must. And the Gemara continues, the pasuk says, Hakesake, you should surely smite them. This is talking about the residents of an Ir Hanidachas. That's a city that needs to be destroyed because it worshipped Avodah Zarah. So Ein Li Ela B'Hakah Haksuva B'Hen. Again, the same thing I only know with the punishment that's said by them. Minayin Shem'iyat Yachol Amisan B'Hakah Haksuv Ben. How do you know that if you can't do the type of misa, this is also Lefi Charev, it's by the sword. How do you know that if you can't do that, Shata Rashay L'Hakosan B'Chol Hakah Shata Yachol, that you can hit them with any kind of death penalty, so to speak, that's possible? Talmud Lomar Hakesaka, again, it says the double language of Hakesaka, Mikol Mokom, it means in any fashion. Hashev Tashev, the pasuk says you should surely return it. This is talking about when a person takes collateral, so let's say it's a garment that's used at night, you're supposed to return that collateral for the nighttime use, or if it's a daytime, if it's something that you use during the daytime, you return it for the daytime use. So it says you have to return it. Ein liela shemashkeno b'rishos bezdin. Now I only know we're talking where it was the collateral was taken through the bezdin, but mashkeno shelo b'rishos bezdin. Let's say he took a mashken not through bezdin. Minayin, how do you know that it applies there as well? Talmud Lomar hashev tashev mikol makom. It says you shall surely return it in all situations. Chavol tachbol. This is a similar pasuk. The pasuk is talking about taking collateral as well. Ein liela shemashkeno b'rishos. I only know if he did it with permission. Mashkeno shelo b'rishos minayin. How do we know that even if it was not with the permission of the bezin, that it still applies? Talmud Lomar chavol tachbol mikol makom. Again, the pasuk says chavol tachbol in any way. V'hani trei kroi lamali. Now, why do we need two psukim, both talking about collateral, both seemingly talking about the exact same thing? Chad l'chsos yom v'chad l'chsos laila. One's talking about if you take a garment that the person uses during the day, and one's talking about if you take a garment that the person uses at night. And Rashi explains, Ein liela shemashchano b'rishos bezin means tzak olav bedin, means to say that you had to take the person to court, v'shalchu shlucham litvos metaltalav, and then the agents of the court took away this person's object, to dekra to hashavas ha'avot aleksiv, because that's the context of that pasuk where you return the collateral, let's say either at night or during the day. T'chsiv le'el minei b'chutz tamod v'yishra min l'chamon v'perak ha'makabel v'shliach bezin ha'kosim medaber. We're going to say later on that the context of the pasuk is with an agent of the court. Shalo b'rishos bezin minayin, how do you know you need to return it even if it was taken not through the courts? And then Rashi continues, Tam chavol al pi bezdin, the same thing over here. Chavol tachvol in general is when it's done through the bezdin. In general, people don't usually enter someone else's house to take a collateral without permission. So again, how do you know it's even if it's done without permission, meaning without the bezdin? That's why it says the double language. And then the Gemara said, Chad l'chsos yom v'chad l'chsos laila. One is for the daytime garment, one's for the night garment. This is explained later on. We explain the psukim in this fashion. And the Gemara continues, Pasoach tiftach, the pasuk says you should give to the poor. Ein li ela la'niyei ircha, I only know to the poor in your city. La'niyei ir acheres minayin, how do you know the poor of another city? Talmud Lomar pasoach tiftach mikol makom. Again, it says pasoach tiftach. It means in all ways, means people in any city. And the Gemara continues, Nason Titain, it says you should surely give. So, Ein li ela matana meruba, I only know that you should give a large matana. Again, this is talking also giving to the poor. Matana muetas minayin, how do you know you give a small matana, a small gift as well? Talmud Lomar Nason Titain mikol makom. Again, it says Nason Titain, any kind of gift. And Rashi explains, Matana mu'etzes minayin, how do you know a small gift? Imi efshar loch litin matana meruba, let's say you're not able to give a big gift, how do you know you give a small one? Again, we learned that from Nason Titain. And the Gemara continues, the pasuk says, Hanik Tanik, that's talking about giving gifts to the slave when you send him to go free. Ein li ela shenisbarach habayis beglola. Now, I only know you give gifts to the slave if the house was blessed because of him. So then manikim, so then you give the gifts. Lo nisbarach habayis beglola, but if the house was not blessed because of him, minayin, from where do we know that we give the gift? Talmud Lomer, the pasuk says, Hanik Tanik. Again, it uses a double language. Mikal makom means you give it even in that scenario. Well, Rebbe Elazar ben Azariah, damar nisbarach habayis beglola manikin, lo nisbarach habayis beglola ein manikin. According to Rebbe Elazar ben Azariah, who says we only give the gifts if the house was blessed because of him, but if the house was not blessed because of him, you don't give the gifts. So Tanik Lamali, what do we need the extra word Tanik for? Dibra Torah Kalashim B'nei Adam. The Gemara says to that, the Torah just speaks in the same way that people talk. Have tavitenu, the pasuk says have tavitenu, that's talking about lending money. Ein li ela she'ein lo ve'eino rotze l'sparnis. Now I only know that you're supposed to lend money to somebody if the person has no resources, not able to have parnasa. Amar achmana, so the pasuk says tein lo derech halva, you give him as a loan. But yesh lo ve'eino rotze l'sparnis. Let's say he has resources, but he doesn't use them to take care of himself. Minayin, from where do we know you should lend him money? Talmud Lomer tavitenu mikol makom. It says tavitenu, you should lend him in any case. Well, Rabbi Shimon damar yesh lo ve'eino rotze l'sparnis. Now, according to Rabbi Shimon, who says that if the person has the resources but he doesn't use them, that you don't have to really lend him money. So tavitenu lamali. Why does it say tavitenu? The Gemara says to that, Dibra Torah Kalashim B'nei Adam. Again, the Torah speaks in the way that people speak. And Rashi explains, I only know we're talking where the house was blessed because of the Eved Ivri. Again, you're giving him the gifts when he goes free. That's what it says, that Hashem blessed you, so you give him these gifts. To Rebbe Elazar ben Azariah Kiddushin, the opinion of Rebbe Elazar ben Azariah is found in Kiddushin. Then it talked about lending money, so I only know we're talking where he doesn't have money. He doesn't want to receive gift. So then the Torah says you should lend him money because he doesn't have money and he doesn't want to take a gift. But let's say he has, but he doesn't want to use, meaning Mishalo, he doesn't want to use his own. Ela Mishalcha, he wants to get it from you. From where do we know that you're chayiv to lend him? So then you'll get paid back after his death. Talmud Lomar Tavitenu, that's what the pasuk says, Tavitenu. So Isha, this is what is explained in Meseches Ksubis. And the Gemara continues at the two dots. The Mishnah said, "Hayabatel min hasela lo yomer lo tain li sela ela nosin lo schar kapol batel." Let's say by returning a lost object, the person isn't able to do work, so he loses out on a sela. He can't tell the person, "You have to give me the sela that I lost." Rather, he says, "Pay me like an idle worker." And the Gemara says, Tana was taught, Nosin lo scharo kapol batel, he pays him like an idle worker. My kapol batel, what does it mean like an idle worker? He's not doing nothing over here. It's not like he's just watching a field and doing nothing. He's going through the effort of returning the lost object. Why are we paying him like an idle worker? And the Gemara says to that, Amar Abaye says, kapol batel shall osa malacha de batel mina. What we mean is, he's being idle from his normal work. As Rashi here explains, my kapol batel, what does it mean like an idle worker? Follow aino batel, he's not idle. Sharei torach bashavasa, he's bothering with the returning. The Mishnah is implying it's as if the person what would a person want in order not to do his work and to do nothing? And the Gemara says, no, it means kapol batel shalosa malacha de batel mina, means as follows. Kama adam rotza litel, how much would a person be willing to take? V'livchos mischaro, so he would earn less money. Livatel mi malacha zu kaveda, but now he doesn't have to do the hard job, shu osek, which he's doing. V'lasuk b'malacha kala kazu, and instead he'll do this easier job of hashavas aveda hakolafi kovet hamalacha v'riboy schar. You have to do that evaluation based on whatever kind of work it is. Yesh malacha shetor chakalu schar rav ochiluf. Some people do work that's very easy, but you get paid a lot. Or it could be the reverse. The point is, you're being idle from your job. How much would you take not to do your job to do an easier job? That's what it means, Paul Batel. It doesn't mean the person is doing nothing right now. It just means that he's doing something easier. And the Gemara continues at the two dots. It said that if there's a court, so he can actually make a condition in front of the court and say, I'm not returning this object unless I get paid the amount of money that I'm losing from not doing my job. And the Gemara says, Isser v'Rav Safra Ovid Iska Bahade Hadadi. Isser and Rav Safra, they were partners with one another. Azor Rav Safra Palag lay below dieted Isser, and then Rav Safra went ahead and he dissolved the partnership without Isser knowing. Ba'ape Beit Train, he did that in front of two people. He had two witnesses. Rashi explains, Palag bischora v'lohayu mos eladavar hatzarach shuma, meaning to say this was like some kind of merchandise. It wasn't money, so it needed to be evaluated. He did it in front of two people, and he essentially dissolved the partnership. Asal lakame de Rabba bar Rafuna came before Rabba bar Rafuna. Amar lei said to him, Zil aisi telasa de palagt kamayu. Bring the three people that you dissolved the partnership in front of. Bring those three people. Bring the bezdin. Inami or, and we will continue with this discussion in the next video on Daf Lamed Beis Amud Aleph.